right. People looking, people watching, seeing if we've been starting up the live stream right here, live and direct. People were making fun of me for saying that so much yesterday. Live and direct.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny too.
Well, you need those things that you like go back to, you know? It's,
definitely.
But it seems like we're live. Yeah, it seems like, come on. I'm being told by my man Hydefield that we are live and direct.
Live and direct.
Live and direct. But, yo, what up, everybody? Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, actually. And I'm super excited because we're on episode 41 of Beyond the Beats right here, live and direct on Swissbeatbox. Yes. It's your boy, Scott Jackson. Very happy to be the host and very happy to have amazing gentlemen on with me today. But first and foremost, thank you guys for all tuning in right now. If you're in the chat, do you have any questions throughout the entire time, go ahead and send some messages, and Hydefield will pick out the best questions to ask at the end. Aside from that, I hope you guys have been staying safe, happy, and all that good stuff. Drinking water, very good ideas. And yeah, looks like we have some people in the chat getting it going. Again, Super Bowl Sunday. But today, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest this week, episode 41, is none other than Neil Meadows, a.k.a. OG, Original Gerber, a.k.a. Dr. Nape, repping Napom and the Beatbox House. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Napom. Come on, Napom.
What's going on, guys? Make some noise.
How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. It's snowing a lot outside. Super cold.
Super cold, yes. We've had some cold weather up here in Canada as well, but when you tried to show me outside your window, it just looked like you were in the clouds.
Like
Yes. But yeah, man, it's good to see your face. I'm happy we had you on with the Beatbox House before. You've already been on Beyond the Beats, the original series, way back when in 2017. Oh, yeah. So this is this is the live version of that. But again, nice to have you on. I'm looking forward to having some talks about beatboxing with you. And
Definitely.
It's fabulous to see your face, though, brother.
You too, man.
Yeah. And before we even start, because it is Super Bowl Sunday, and I know that as a kid, you were number 72. You were jumping on that field. Tell me, who's going to win the Super Bowl, in your opinion?
Oh, man, I have no idea who's even playing. That's a shame, I know.
We'll go with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers versus Patrick Mahomes and, who is it, Chiefs?
Yes.
Who's going to win, in your opinion, if you have to choose right now? Chiefs?
The Chiefs, because they got a beatbox community.
Okay. All right. I'll give them that. Kansas City, that battle is going down. Yeah. Okay. Just thought I'd ask because, you know.
I wish I knew. I was following the Steelers a little bit because I'm from Pittsburgh, but once they lost, I'm out.
True enough. Yeah. I'm from Canada, so the closest thing we have is the Bills. Go Bills! Bills Mafia. Big shouts to Jake. Jake brought me to a Bills game one time. It was awesome. I saw a guy go through a table. Amazing time. Amazing time. But yeah, we have a lot of people in the chat ready to go. So you know what? I was going to say, before we even get into talking about anything, are you down to go and start this thing off in the right note? Start off with a little bit of a freestyle for the people that are in the chat because they all want to go and hear you beatbox. So ladies and gentlemen, right here, episode 41, Beyond the Beats, with the big homie Napom, representing for America. You already know what to do if you're sitting at home. I say the 3, y'all say the 2 and the 1. Napom, show them what is good in 3.
I'm a monster. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. Come on, Beyond the Beats. You come like Napom. You come correct. Yeah. Start off. Yeah. Well, that made me happy. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't get a better start than that. Napom ripping up some beats right off the go. Man, I usually like to start off by trying to go and find good quotes, and you had a bunch of good quotes throughout them, but I like that 2017 Beyond the Beats interview, and you just said, I love lip rolls. Now I'm just lip rolling my life away.
Yeah,
it's a favorite. But yeah, when you started beatboxing, I just want to go and talk a little bit about how you got into beatboxing, some accomplishments along the way. Maybe talk about the current scene, kickback battle, and goals that you have for yourself. There's tons of stuff to talk about. So again, people have questions throughout this entire time. Make sure that you guys go and send the message into the group chat, and our boy Heidfeld will go through and find some of the best questions to ask at the very end. So stick around. We'll be talking to Napom, and let's get right into it. You see, at around 13, 14 years old, you start looking on YouTube around 2011. You've seen Greg Patilio, who's amazing, flute beatboxing. And I think you said the video was with this guy, Lunatic, the popper. And you find this video, and you just get looking at it, being like, wow, it's crazy. You pick up your sister's flute, try to do the flute beatboxing, and realize, I can't do flute beatboxing, but I could start doing this beatbox thing. And then that attaches you into the whole beatbox rabbit hole of finding world champs and all these sorted. And you start really, really, really starting to get into beatboxing. What time do you think that you'd actually say you thought you had a talent for it right off the, like, was it right off the bat, as soon as you started getting sounds, that you progressed quickly? Because there weren't a lot of people doing it in the area that you grew up in, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm from a place called Slickville, Pennsylvania, so it definitely doesn't sound like a beatbox city. So growing up, I played guitar. That was like the first thing that I did musically, and I started at like 6 years old. And I got into performing with guitar. Like I did the school talent shows with that. I tried, like, for my music school, like they had a show once a month at one point, and I tried a couple of those. So I was always like going for, I don't know, performing or something like that with whatever I did, because I was playing sports, and that was kind of a performance in a way. Like at the end of every week, you had your game, and then you perform for the whole school or whatever. Like they kind of go hand in hand in a way. So whenever I picked up beatboxing, like it was already kind of like, ooh, I could do something cool with this. So before I even started any battles, I was like trying to do open mics around my small town, and like did my school talent shows, different stuff like that. So I don't know, before I even got into the beatbox battle community, like I was already kind of into showing people what beatboxing was, because I always like spreading whatever feeling I feel whenever I do it.
It's, yeah, you can see the beginning too. The first things I found were like 2011. You start putting out, now they're all unlisted, so you can't watch them back. Yeah. But you start putting out testing the new mic and dubstep beatbox, and start putting out stuff of your original beatbox, just tracks, and you continue on with it. I see that you do something called in your area, Sadie's Dance and the Christmas Dance.
Yeah.
You say your first official show was with your sister. You went to a place in Jeannette, PA. Yeah. Jeannette, Pennsylvania. And you do a show at an open mic there around January 5th, 2012. According to you, was your first ever showcase that you did.
Yeah, I think it was called the Keynote Cafe. And yeah, that was my first time actually going and performing my beatboxing. I mean, before that, there's actually one video of me practicing in my bathroom and my sister like filming me, and then me getting really like nervous and upset at her. I was like, stop filming me. So that was the first time that like anybody put anything up on my beatboxing. Before that, I was like just too nervous to show anybody. But then after that, I ended up thinking about doing this open mic, which my cousin also played guitar and stuff. So sometimes he would do it with his band. So I don't know, I got the idea, and it was actually only my mom, my sister, one other random person, and the owner of the place.
And that was the first official Napom jumping on stage as Neil Mills.
Yeah, very first one.
Well, that's good. That's a good one to go and start on, though. At least you get to go, do a showcase in front of people that you're comfortable with, so you can go and actually bring that comfortability to the stage and not have those nerves. How was it for you when you started doing it at school and actually performing at like these dances and formals and stuff?
It was interesting. I mean, I just like thought it was really cool to do because at that point I was watching videos of like Slizzer, Babbly, Reaps One, and on YouTube, like apart from their battles, like they had a couple videos where they were just performing at parties and stuff, and I just kind of wanted to imitate that. Like I remember at my one Christmas dance, I straight up did like a Slizzer intro, and then I did like a 2H drop, break it down like this. Like I really kind of copied everybody's like ad libs that I thought were really cool. But yeah, like I would just go to these dances and just I had my microphone, my AKG D5, and then I would just go up to the DJs and be like, "Hey, like I'm a professional beatboxer. You got to let me on the mic." And then I had a couple friends that were like, "Yeah, yeah, you gotta get him." So they couldn't say no.
Yeah, that's kind of I swear that's a path a lot of beatboxers take. I've been there too. You just walk up and if you just see a microphone or you see an area, you all of a sudden like, hey, can I do this? Or try to get that introduction, and then eventually they know you. You build a rapport, and you start doing it more. And you start getting more opportunities. And you say that 2012 again was the very first time you went to a beatbox event, being in Ohio. You do the Midwest beatbox battle. Big shout outs to Lethal setting up these
Definitely.
things forever. But you go to there, and that's a pretty crazy one to go and see back because you battle your first ever battle against MCRX,
Yep.
big homie MCRX, and then you face a guy MC Graffiti, and then you go up who has become now Spencer X, the gentleman
Crazy.
Spencer. They go and flash back to that, and you even did a reaction video to that thing. So
Yeah.
how was it for you to go and was that the first time you met any other beatboxers live? Because I saw you were doing battles on Ventrilo as well. I think it was 2012. You won in December. You said you won your first ever battle on Ventrilo, the Shut Your Mouth and Beatbox League. You had your first win on there.
Yeah. So before that, maybe I was on Ventrilo a little bit, but I ended up seeing this somehow through like people sharing it on Facebook. I think it was actually Tony C. Like I ended up adding him on Facebook because he was from Pennsylvania, and I searched like Pennsylvania beatbox or something like that. And yeah, the first beatboxers that I actually saw there was Verbal Ace and Adam Andrew Correa, which was pretty sick because I'd seen Verbal Ace before then because he was performing at American Champs and stuff. Like he was always one of the dopest, even before he was super famous. Like he was doing some of the craziest beats. Don't be stupid, don't be stupid, don't be stupid. So I saw them for the first time, and he was just like the nicest guy. I was like, "Hey, Verbal Ace, I'm a beatboxer." He was like, "Yo, what's up, man? How you doing?" And then Adam was there too, and then I ended up just walking around the hotel, and yeah, it was my first time seeing like people jamming together. There was like Kenny, Mike Lackey, I think was there, Kayla, tons of people. Amit, BBK, and it was the first time meeting all these people. And I was definitely young. I was like 16 at the time, so I wasn't super social. My mom was kind of watching over my shoulder, like as I was walking into these random hotel rooms, because I mean these guys are much older. They're doing older people things, and like I wasn't at that age yet for sure. So I was kind of like peeking my head in, jamming a little bit, and then stepping out. But I think the next year in 2013 is when I really had like the immersive experience of like jamming with other beatboxers and like connecting on another level, you know.
And then 2013, yeah, you get another battle. You go to another Midwest, and you end up going against Kenny. And after that first battle in 2012, where you started like meeting these people in 2013, is that when you started really spending more time, visiting guys like Villain and stuff, and other people that you started actually branching out and jamming with in person more?
Yeah, because I think after that year, they had like a lot more like interactive stuff that year. In 2012, it was just all that I did was show up to the battle that night at the bar and then go home back to the hotel. And then the next day, show up to the battle. But in 2013, they had like a jam session. I remember you and Kim did a jam, and that was like insane. It was like two people that I've seen on YouTube jamming live. It was just nuts to feel that for the first time. So I think after that, I just wanted to like keep that momentum of that feeling going. So yeah, for 2013, because that battle was in like, I think October, maybe August at that point. I'm not really sure. But pretty much after that, I did make an effort to hang out with other beatboxers. And at first it was with Villain a lot and going to Tony C's house in York, PA. And also going to Lethal's a lot in Ohio.
Yeah, you guys had that Pennsylvania beatbox crew.
Yeah, with Jay Ziz.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see some old clips of that. And then 2014, I'm just going through some resume stuff, but 2014 you end up coming in Toronto. I'm proud of this as a fact,
Great
but
North.
like Toronto Great North, you come up there and you battle eventually. You get against C Fresh, but like you get that underneath your belt and you come back in 2014 to become 2v2 champs with Kenny right there at the Unity battle.
Yep.
And 2014 Midwest champ. Then it's just crazy from there. From 2014 is where your domination really starts. And I want to know, how was it for you to go outside of America, come to Toronto, and come home with a victory? You know, because that was the first tournament that you took a W in before Midwest.
So the first time I went to Toronto was the Great North. That was in like March or February. I came up with Villain and Tony C from York. So we took the mega bus there. So we had to drive to Baltimore just to catch the bus. So we left super late and we drove there like an hour out of the way. It was pouring rain and we missed the bus. So we had to like wait in this movie theater for a couple hours, wait for the next bus to go up, and then take this crazy route to New York City and then up through to Toronto. It was nuts. So that first experience was insane. Just trying to travel on a mega bus like that, going to another country, needing a passport. That stuff's crazy. The second time I tried to go to Toronto, I took a Greyhound bus all by myself from Pittsburgh to Toronto. And in between like Erie and Buffalo, I fell asleep. Somebody took my cell phone. So I ended up getting into Toronto without a cell phone to contact Heat who was supposed to pick me up. And it was crazy, but somehow Heat ended up finding me because I just stayed at the bus station beatboxing and just hanging out. And he ended up finding me and he got me. And then we met up at Unity and then we won that battle. Some crazy experiences. And that's kind of what people are afraid of, going out and doing stuff like that because they're afraid of getting lost or whatever and stuff like that. But it was definitely all worth it. Definitely crazy.
100%. There's been funny stories. Everyone has funny stories traveling with beatboxing events, but it's a good piece of advice to go. And I always say go for it. I always just say go for it, and the world will work out. You know, obviously try to be somewhat smart about it and do your due diligence when planning. But
Learned a lot.
Yeah, grown as a person a lot too from 2014 coming up there, slapping it up, because 2015 or 2014 rather, you continue on. And that's when you go. How was it to go and win the Midwest battle, a battle that you jumped into your first battle, 2012, and then fast forward 2 years, you end up taking the W home?
It was definitely really cool. That year was the first year, I think the only year, where they did like 4 quadrants of qualifiers for the American champs. They had the Midwest, South, West Coast, and East Coast. So I guess it was like a little bit easier that year just because there was less people. Usually the Midwest is like an international type thing. Like one year we had Bronix. We've had a lot of crazy people. But I'd say that year it was definitely like a milestone to kind of conquer. It was my first real life battle that I won. And it was definitely like a milestone that I felt like I conquered. And I kept watching it back too. Like I remember after I won that, like constantly watched it and over and over and over again. Not to like gloat in it, but to like figure out what can I do to get better? There's more than this. What can I do? Like I learned so much through watching my own losses, watching my own wins. Yeah.
And then you end up taking home the W. And then even more impressively, that's the qualifier you win. You head to the American champs. Lo and behold, 2014 American champ. You have Kayla in the finals. You become the tag team champ with Kenny as well. Both those get you qualified for the world champs the following year in 2015. And I assume at that point you must realize that you're onto something, winning not only the Midwest, but then going and being the actual American champ. Because I don't know if people know this, but America has a huge populace. So to be the actual #1 beatboxer is a huge accomplishment.
Pretty sick.
How was that though? How was that family-wise, friend-wise, people-wise, and just you in general for milestones in your career, that American champ, that first one, 2014?
I mean, definitely a crazy time period for me. Like I was a senior in high school and I kind of had the choice of like really focus on my schooling or go to all these different events and like really hustle the beatbox community. Cause I felt like, yeah, I did have something and I did have like this style that people haven't introduced in the way that I did yet. Cause like the reason I was winning, a big reason why, is because I was introducing the Liproll on a crazy level that nobody was doing it before too, and doing like a crazy bass, dubsteppy trap kind of style, hip hop, like, and I feel like it was more worth it for me to really commit to, practicing for these events, meeting with other beatboxers, like really training, almost like an anime or something, like training hard at the top of mountains. Like I was going to different beatboxers places, learning their ways, learning these different techniques, talking to different people online. And it was definitely like a lot of focus gone into it. I've always been a competitive person, but whenever I like really put all my energy into beatboxing, it took it to another level for sure.
And a question that I've been seeing that's come up in the chat a few times already, and I usually ask people this, but I'll ask it to be later on eventually as well. But at that point in time, family wise and hometown wise, again, you said you come from a smaller area and stuff, and the idea of how was it for your family to go and see you having success in this really niche at the time beatboxing thing that you were trying, and you come home American champ. People want to know essentially, how was your family supportive? Were they supportive of you when you started watching or started actually performing and winning?
Yeah, at first it was my mom taking me to events. Like I was too young to go out and do these things by myself. So, there was definitely a support there that if it wasn't there, I wouldn't be where I am. Thanks, Mom. But now, once I got to be like 18, like my parents, they're just like proper parents. They're like, all right, you got to start paying for your own way. You got to start doing your own stuff. And at the same time, they're like, if you're going to follow this, you better be damn successful. And how it's looking, like you don't see beatboxers as a normal person, like be successful. You just don't see it day to day. Like every once in a while, there's beatboxers that are successful. They can make a living. But you just don't know that as a small town person. So once I got to that age of like taking care of myself, like they were definitely worried about me and, thinking like, what is he doing? Really going for this beatbox thing over everything else. But I think just carrying that momentum of, all right, I can win this battle. I can go to this performance. All right, I'm going to go to this next thing, maybe lose this, but go to the next. I think really carrying that momentum and like eventually showing like, I can support myself with this and I can make money doing this. Like that's enough to prove it to them. As long as I could take care of myself, they'd want me to do whatever makes me happy.
That's good. I've heard stories on when I've interviewed other people and personal experiences of just knowing other people. Some families frown upon it. Some families are very supportive, and it's nice to go and know that they supported you and brought you to these events and were behind you, and also had the faith that, okay, if he's going to do this, hopefully he doesn't mess around and actually goes all out. And again, 2014 is a huge turning point of winning that Unity 2v2, winning American champs. You come back, you were an actual judge at the Can champs as well, which I was pumped about. And then you actually came back, had a classic battle with Mr. BBK. I love that battle from Hard Rock Cafe with the glasses on. And I wanted to bring that up because 2015, you go to the World Champs. You make it there, and you battle guys like Babily, someone that you were watching, Alexinho, and you get to the finals of the World Champs, and you ranked first overall with your elimination. I remember your elimination was just like, it shook up the whole beatbox world from that moment. As soon as you jumped on that world stage and had that opportunity, you smashed it out of the park and really, really set like a new standard of this is what a Liproll is, and really pushed it. And it's crazy to think that in 2011 you see that battle where I think it was Alan versus Slizzer, but he did Liprolls, and that was the thing that inspired you to go and really pursue Liprolls heavily and change it your own way. But you heard it, you're like, that's a really cool noise. And then you go and you finally end up against him in the finals of the World Champ. Can you kind of run through that emotionally and just stuff that was going through your head when you were at the World Champs and how it felt to go and represent so well for America and also just accomplish getting ranked first overall in the elimination, set a new standard, and becoming vice champ?
Yeah, so after American Champs 2014, I forget exactly when I went to New York for the American Beatbox Festival, but I'd say like after American Champs 2014 is when I started going to New York to train with the Beatbox House. And at that time, like I mean, you were talking about it with Chris and Gene last year. Like that was when GBB was happening, and like Gene was going there, and we knew that I like qualified for the world champs, and Gene might too if he won GBB. So we were all like training together, and that was my first time after that American champs. I came to New York a lot more, like for 2 weeks at a time, and then 3 weeks at a time, just to practice for the world champs. And then after going there, like I definitely remember specific moments, but there was so much adrenaline because it's like I was already so immersed in the beatbox community, like by just watching videos of all these crazy European and Asian people. But then after I was actually in Berlin meeting these people for the first time, it was just like surreal. It was crazy. And it was even more surreal to get first place in the elimination. Like, but it's just, I feel like being so immersed in the culture and just trying to learn how to speak the language like my own way is really what took it to the next level. Like I couldn't have done it myself. Like I definitely made all the beats myself. Like my mouth is the only one that can do it. But for all that inspiration, like that comes from traveling around, hanging out with different beatboxers, going to the beatbox house to train together, practice your things over and over again together, practice on microphones together, like perform for each other. That's really where like the heart and soul came from. Because otherwise, like you're just practicing in your shower all by yourself for the World Beatbox Championship, you know? Because I mean, I find myself doing that. Like GBB's coming up, and my best ideas in the shower sometimes. But you're really gonna get your stuff across by inspiring and being inspired by other people around you, getting different ideas.
100%. You can see that even with in this kickback battle with B-Art and having his homie Voxel there. And he's like, we're going to, like, even in the stream, he's like, we're going to get ready for this. So he's got a team that, you know, he's going to be working through, and being able to bounce it off a partner is super important, you know? And just that availability. And again, for you to go and have everybody in the beatbox house, that's crazy. Like,
was
super
lucky.
Crazy.
Definitely lucky. I mean, everybody has people around them that you can find if you're willing to take those sacrifices. But it was definitely lucky for us that we, you know, all were qualified for this battle. We had our set, you know, teams. Like me and Kenny already qualified with American champs, and Gene won the GBB. So we definitely had like a team. Kayla was in the female champs. We had like a squad, and it was natural too, because it was all of our first time really representing America too. Like, and it wasn't like we were defending anything. We were going there to make a statement, because there was nothing to defend. We really haven't done anything from America since Butterscotch, you know?
True. And then that was the resurgence. One of the big things was that 2015 World Champs, you guys coming over, and famous videos of in the parking lot or whatever, that side park that by the hostel or whatever, the generator, and just, we won. Like, you know, Kayla comes in and says, and I did win the whole thing. It was such a dope video, a dope time. But yeah, 2015, grid year for you. You get your first SBX shout out as well. Again, 2015, go back and defend, become the American champ once again, beating Kenny in the finals there. And you get another GB, or you go to the GBB then. And it's funny because 2015, you beat him at American champs, and then he comes back and you come second place at Grand Beatbox battle.
Yep.
And he ends up taking that as a championship as well. And then just keep on moving forward. 2016 is Dip. Dip hits when it actually hits on SBX. It's up to like 5 million views or something crazy right now. But that's like a classic piece. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that Dip would have been as strong if you would have used Wumbo instead of Dip, the word?
Wumbo?
Yeah.
Wumbo, I Wumbo. You Wumbo, he Wumbo, she Wumbo. It could have been. I like SpongeBob references.
Yeah, okay. I was just asking because I saw randomly that when I was looking up stuff, I'm like, I guess he was thinking about this as a possibility. It might have not had the same connection.
Yeah, that actually got inspired from a cover, a trap song cover. I think it was a Danny Brown song.
And that was your inspiration for going Dip.
Yeah.
It slapped.
Yeah.
Slapped super hard. And then 2017, Grand Beatbox Battle champion.
That was crazy. That was the year Sorrow and the Mad Twins won too. It was just so cool.
And Hiss really exploded.
That was his like first. Yeah, he's a prodigy.
Yeah, he came. It was I remember introducing, being like, "Who is this kid?" And he just came up and slapped it up the entire way. I'm like, "All right,
Yeah.
he's going right into the finals. Let's do it." And
He's nice.
man, you just I don't know. It's just crazy. You're like the line that you've kept up from then. You know, Grand Beatbox Battle champion, two-time American champ, Midwest champ, Great North. You came up and slapped the Great up. Great North is only one person's ever done this. Come up and win solo tag and loop station. You're the grand champion. That's
That
one
was
thing
cool.
I can say I've never seen that happen, but like it was crazy to see you go up and kill it, and then you guys go and do what else? What else? Like you've won loop station champion at Midwest. You go to the shootout battle, come shootout battle champion 2017 as well, and you just keep on smashing it, keep on smashing it. 2018 though, let's talk about Lips. Let's talk about your album, because
Yeah.
that's in an interview I saw you did with somebody in a park, a lady in a park. You were talking about it, and you were saying how that album was one of the things that pushed, and I can see it too. 2018, you put out that album, and a lot of beatboxers start getting their ideas that maybe they can go and make music and make an album as well and push it out there. So, what inspired you in your mind to go and think about taking all these beats and creating an actual beatbox album heavily? And what has been the not input, but what has been the feedback that you've got on said album, and also just in general, what are your feelings about that project 3 years later?
Um, yeah, that was definitely a milestone for me, and I think a milestone for the beatbox world too. Just like kind of how you can take these battle routines and these battle beats and throw them onto an album and listen to them start to finish with really good mixing and mastering, and listen to it. I think for me, I wanted to do more with all of these routines that I practiced over and over again for all these different battles, because I've done them in shows, I've done them in battles, but I know that like that battle energy is what a lot of beatboxers want to listen to. So I wanted to capture that into an album from like start to finish. And yeah, the idea of it was that you can kind of listen to it from start to finish, and it kind of goes from like kind of beat to beat. It's kind of one big piece. And yeah, I want to make another straight up beatbox one, but it takes a lot of time. Definitely. It takes a lot of time to really hit the same bar that I set for myself in terms of routines. But I do have more music coming out straight up production. I've been using Ableton a lot for the past couple of years, and I'm finally like starting to put out more projects. So you could see an EP from me pretty soon.
Let's go. And I can see too on your numbers on Spotify are pretty crazy too that you've been pushing. And I'm excited to go and see what else you do with it, honestly, like music wise, because out of that album, is there one that it's a hard question, but like is there some, which one of those tracks is your personal favorite if you had to pick one?
Probably Roll Like This. I've listened to the most back. It's not my favorite to do, but I've listened to that one the most. I think that one's the best.
I gotta say, it's crushing. The entirety of that thing was dope to listen to front to back, and it still holds up to this day. And I think it's something that it's been inspiring to go and see not only the reaction from just people in general. Like I'll play it for some, but I've played that before for people that don't really know beatbox. I'm like, all right, just press play while we're driving. You just check this out, and it slaps, and people like have to really think about like how is one person producing that,
Yeah.
But I love the impact that it's had on the beatbox community, with people maybe having that confidence to go and start bringing out more of their music and releasing it as music, as tracks, as thought out pieces, not just the thought of battling. There's nothing wrong with just being sticking to battling if that's what someone wants, but I'd love to see the that pursuit of music,
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot too, because big shout out to Sinjo and shout out to Maddox for helping me get that album recorded and sounding really nice. And that was something that I couldn't have done on my own. And I don't think that we couldn't have done it if it wasn't for Swissbeatbox. So shout out to Swissbeatbox as a whole, So I think, if you do end up wanting to take your beats to that next level and you want to take it seriously, you got to get some other people that are on the same page as you and make it happen. Because it all starts with just an idea. Hey, maybe I'm thinking about doing this album. And then they were like, oh, an album? We've never done that. So we all just kind of came together, put our knowledge in the same bowl, made some crazy stuff. It was 4 years ago that we started recording it, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, Swissbeatbox and myself, it's come a long way. So maybe doesn't seem like, oh, they could do an album like easy, but it definitely takes a lot of concentration, a lot of collaboration, and it was really cool to do. Definitely an honor to do that with Swissbeatbox too, because I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. Thinking about it, like that's another thing. Like if I wanted to do another beatbox album, like I don't think I'd want anybody else but like Sinjo to really work on the sound, because the amount of work and textures that he's able to put in, he really knows beatbox mixing like nobody else.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell from anything that he touches, and doesn't matter. He just steps it up, and that's another thing with this kickback battle that I think is so dope, is just the ability to go and have the online scene kind of have a standard and something that everyone can go and work on an even playing field. Because I'm just gonna fast forward 2019 was like one of your last live battles that I saw, where you go and win the Legends battle. Big shout out to Lit, and you take a villain again. And that's something that I wanted to go and ask before I ask that other question, is like that having that guy like Villain, you know, like he was a guy that kind of like pushed you in all sorts of battles where you beat him, he beat you, you beat him, he beat you, and you got that person to go and push you and you jam with, and you live in the same I was going to say province, but same state, so you guys kind of have that connection as well. How important is it for people to go and find those friendly rivalries to go and push you to go and get to that next level?
Crazy important.
Yeah, it's amazing to see.
Look at BMG and LM. They were the same kind of thing, always battling each other back in the day, and also a tag team. And then they won the world champs. Like, and they were always just pushing each other. There's so many different examples too of just people that like push each other, like battle each other all the time, but at the same time become the best because of that. You know, unless if you can push yourself as much as you push other people, which is, imagine battling yourself that much. But yeah, you need those other people to push you. You know what I mean? It's definitely next level. I mean, you and Korean Effects back in the day, you guys were always battling in the finals, and it was like neck and neck every time. You had some wins, he had some, and then you also had the tag team and King of the Dot.
Hey, Bo-cussion. Boom! I hope Terry's okay. Wherever he is in this world, Terry, I hope you're doing well, brother. And yeah, man, I agree. It's always nice to have someone to go and push you and take you out and make that like, oh, wait a second, that person's like doing that. Well, I got to go and step up and keep on moving and seeing how far you can push it. And I want to go and ask you your opinion on like, again, before we get to kickback and all this other stuff, I just want to know, from doing those live battles and having such success, and then the online battles that have been happening this year, you did well as well. You judged the world champs. Big shouts to Beatbox community and Decoy. And then in Grand Beatbox Battle Online Edition World League 2020, you had a tough battle against Zero, who ended up winning the whole thing, and he's super dope. So like it's always crazy. Good battles, and your battles were crazy because it went up against guys like Duds and Cloud. So you already had all these people that are having success. But before Kickback Battle gave out these microphones, gave out all these products, and had Sinjo mixing it at an even level, and everyone has that even playing field. How was it for you to transition into having success in live battles and then jumping back into the online world and having to battle people, you know, just online in comparison to live?
I mean, it's both beatboxing, but in terms of the battle, it's a different game for sure. Because if you really focus on like battle aspects as a part of your battle performance, because in my opinion, I feel like performing is performing, and then like a battle, you're just putting on a different type of performance, you know? So there's like things that you learn for live battles that make you perform better, you know? And if it's an online battle, it's just a completely different game. It's like really face level your beatboxing, you know? And that's what's being judged, rather than your presence, you know, your energy, how the crowd reacts to you. You know, it's really just a face level, literally and figuratively face level. But it's a different game. And I think both are important, because just having straight up beatbox sound battles, because that's pretty much what online battles are. It's like really good for pushing beatbox skill, you know, and making people really come up with creative ways to put your sounds together. Yeah.
True. And it's something too, like this with moving into this world of a kickback battle. It's so, I don't know, it's been immense to watch because there's, again, not a lot of live battles happening with obvious reasons this year and 2020 and this year currently. But like the online scene and people being at home and having time and, you know, getting stuff like the passion that's in there from the fans to go and watch, and they have their favorites that they want to go and succeed, obviously in wild cards and all sorts of controversies that happen. But I want to know, because now you're judging it and you've judged around the world live events from all over Asia, all over Europe and States and Canada. Like, you've been around judging stuff. For you as a judge, how difficult is it for you to go and judge online comparatively to live in a battle? Because I feel like we talked about it yesterday in the stream a little bit, but I think the way that you worded it was very well. It's just that idea of like online, you have so many. You said you like 6 hours to go and make these judgments, whereas in person you have a split decision to go, second decision rather, to make. You have to go and really be in the moment. So what's the difference for you judging online rather than live as well?
Yeah, so with this specific battle, I mean, so far we've done like wild cards before for certain battles. Like, yo man, can you help us judge the wild cards for the battle you're about to judge? So I've been kind of used to that, like watching 82-minute videos and really picking out the small details of each one. But I would never watch them more than once. I mean, maybe twice, but that's a long time to go through 80 videos 2 times. For this one, it's like you got your top 8, 3 minutes each. You got very specific categories, and it's definitely a different experience altogether as a judge, and it's both good. I don't want to say it's like worse in any way. It's just different, but it is better in a couple ways, I feel like, as a judge, because you can really go back, watch it. It's almost like the Super Bowl. You got to play. They call a foul. You can go back and watch the play over and over and over again to see if the ball was really fumbled, to see if there was really an interception. That's kind of like what this is now. It's like technology is taking it farther, where you can really go back and see if they messed up a small little sound rather than, you know, kind of like fumbling but not having anybody notice. Because I do that all the time. I'm performing and I'll make a small mistake, but then I'll just make nothing out of it and then nobody notices. But if it's in a video, in a wild card, or in the seeding round type thing, you make that small mistake, it makes a way bigger difference when somebody can go back, watch it 6 times and be like, I see that mistake now. So it's crazy. I like it a lot. It's definitely intense as a judge, but I feel good enough to do it. I feel like I can be a pretty good judge in this battle, which is, it's a good feeling.
I think so too. I think you're a competent judge for sure, since being around in the experience and the level that you beatbox at as well. That's one thing that comes up when people talk about judges across the board, and that's something that's come up in a lot of these online competitions that I've been a part of, either like hosting and watching and just seeing the online community. It's kind of bringing to a head, you know, what is needed to be a judge at a certain level. And in your opinion, just what do you think it takes to be a good judge at an elite level for beatboxing?
At an elite level, you need worldwide judges that are really good and have different titles from around the world, because that's where you're getting your beatboxers from. Like, and you need judges not only worldwide, but that have like judged in different parts of the world, seen a lot of different types of beatboxers in different places, different contexts of battles. Mainly experience, I'd say, is the biggest word. Experience judging too, which sometimes isn't super important. You know, like, for example, my first really big battle that I judged, I think, was maybe GBB 2018. Like, before that, I might not have had any international experience judging, like on a really big international scale. But before that, I've done like Canadian champs. I guess I did the Great North, which is international. But like, there's still that experience, and there's still like, I've been to China before that. I've seen a bunch of different stuff, seen a bunch of different beatboxers. I think you can kind of tell just through talking to certain beatboxers too, like how much they can reference in the beatbox community, how much knowledge they have about the community. Like, you want people to judge so it makes everybody that's watching happy. You don't want somebody to judge with any sort of preconceived, this is what beatbox is and this is why they should win. Like, you always want them to know what the people want. People that are invested in the community, people that are invested in the world of Swiss Beatbox and the beatbox community. You would never get somebody from the outside that's like, you got to do a Justin Timberlake beat, something like that. Because it's definitely happened. I've seen it happen. You get certain judges that maybe beatbox a little bit, but they're just more famous, or people that are just musicians and not really beatboxers. And sometimes they have that preconceived, like, this is what makes a good battle. And, you got to know what the community is invested in at that particular moment to really make everybody happy. Because whenever you watch a battle, when it's really close, and it's not like being a bystander, like you have no idea who wins, like sometimes it's clear, sometimes like you're like, oh, it's close, but I wonder what the judges are going to say. Like, you can always kind of feel the energy of a battle, even when you're not judging, So as a judge, you got to be like the one to make that hard decision that maybe some people disagree with, maybe some people agree with, but it's based on all of your knowledge as a beatboxer.
I 100% agree, and I feel like there's been many cases that you can see people are put in positions maybe that they have difficulty with making decisions, whether it's friends, whether it's difficulty making decision because of knowledge. And something that stood out again for me this year was my lack of knowledge of the online community was like so apparent when I started hosting these things and hearing these crazy guys. I'm like, what is Antild and Dudes, and then just names that I should have known because they're exceptional beatboxers, but I didn't have that knowledge. And looking after the scene, as you said, to have the best capable judges in there, do you think it's really important that nowadays specifically these people would have had previous experience in the online community when judging big battles when they come back? Because I feel like there's a playing field being leveled of beatboxers that have had success in quote unquote real life battles one-on-one on stage, and then there's this online community that's always been there, and there's classic people that have come from it, but they're getting more attention now because of the current world situation. So I'm just asking, do you think that moving forward it wouldn't be odd to have somebody who has had mostly online experience, judging a battle in the future?
In person?
Yes.
That would be very interesting. I feel like it would definitely be a different perspective, because like I said, it's a different game. Like, it'd be like a boxing judge. No, that's a really bad example. But it's just a different game, So, but at the same time, like, they're both beatboxing. So it would definitely be like, the first one that comes to mind is Zero, because I think he's like one of the kings of the online scene. Like, imagine if he was going to be a judge of American Champs or Great North or something like that. Like, I don't think there would be any opposition to it, especially if you have 5 judges, because it'd be such a unique, approach or unique vision as a judge to really be thinking about the techniques themselves. And like, but I don't know, I feel like naturally whenever you're there in person, you judge the other game, like you would, it's a different kind of experience for sure. So you would get a lot of experience by doing that first one, but I don't think they would be incapable of doing it because of how many beatboxers they've heard, how many different techniques. Like, it would definitely be a little bit of a different perspective though, which isn't a bad thing.
I agree. And my last question about judging too is do you think that it's fair to have people that may not, that have had success earlier on and may not be keeping up with said trends, or at least knowing and having that knowledge? What are your opinions on judges that come in that may not, again, they don't keep up with current techniques, don't keep up with the current scene, but they are legendary people, so they'll be had out because they have a good name and they are still fantastic beatboxers. But just in general, people that maybe not keeping up with the scene. I think it's really important that people, if you're going to judge something, you should be able to be knowledgeable in the new people that are out there and current stuff that is happening. And sometimes I see there's been times where people are, maybe they need a little more knowledge, and before they go to judge something, should take the extra time to be like, I need to know about what's happening right now so I can make the right judgment, you know?
Yeah, definitely. That's similar to what I was saying. So maybe there should be like a small judges quiz, like to even to even be considered as a judge. Like you have to answer like a multiple choice questionnaire. Who is this beatboxer? A, B, C, or D? And like really, because I mean that is true. If there are like key things and key kind of movements that are happening within the community that you're just not aware of, but I don't know, it really depends on the person and depends on how good that judge is going to be. Because, for example, like let's say when Esh started, like if there was a judge that had no idea what Esh was, and then somebody came on and they were just like Esh, 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 and it wasn't that good, but everybody else was like, oh, he's saying Esh, inside joke, and that judge doesn't vote for him. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think judges with that perspective, if it's like a really inside joke type thing, then it shouldn't necessarily be frowned upon. But beatbox is also music. So like if you're fully invested in the music world, maybe not invested in beatbox that much, but like you're clearly doing a lot of projects musically, I think that counts enough as still being a good judge. Obviously knowing how battles work, being to a couple battles, but like some people aren't invested in I kind of think about Tom Thumb as a judge. Like he's not super invested in the beatbox techniques, what people are doing online, but he's obviously invested in music every day and a lot of creativity. And I think the mixture of like his battle experience, being to different events, and being a crazy musician with his beatbox is enough to be qualified.
I fully understand that. And I'm just thinking like from a personal thing of me when I was not knowing it, and this year was like an eye-opening experience for me to go and look and be like, Scott, you need to go and I need to know the end tilts of the world. I need to go and know what these techniques are, and now there's double voice and triple voice, and people are doing this style of bass. You need to be up on those trends to. I feel personally for myself, I feel like I this year has been a good year of learning and getting myself to a level where I feel comfortable now in conversations talking about people and being like, okay, now I understand where these techniques have come from as well. Because I've heard stuff where the first time I heard it, I was losing my mind because I didn't understand realistically, well, that was that person's technique that they'd, used, but I haven't heard it before. That's someone like John, he's always told me like, Scott, you got to listen to this guy. And he's bringing up all sorts of crazy guys from online. I'm like, where are these people? And it's just, again, something that I think should be done. So if you're, whoever's listening to this, make sure you guys follow what's going on in the world. Make sure you know all the things that are happening, because it'll make you a better beatboxer and also improve your chances and ability to go and actually judge. In general, having more knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
Woo! So, yeah. I want to know too. You're just going back on the kickback battle. Is there anything that you moving forward in? Do you think there's gonna be a space for kickback battle things and styles? That style of beatboxing battles when we have live battles come back. Do you think they're going to still be as relevant or held with that importance? Because right now, kickback, in my opinion, is like the biggest battle that's happened in a year, because of just the level, the contestants, the quality. But do you think that once this battle's done, and then let's say Grand Beatbox Battle comes back, and other championships come back, do you think that there's going to be a space for online battles of this caliber in the future?
I hope so, because I definitely like how it's going. I think it would maybe be a really good way to like have a crazy qualifier for one live battle or something like that. Like that's going to be at this big show or something like that. But I definitely do enjoy it. I mean, things like this have existed, I think, for other communities, like video competitions, different stuff like that. We just never did like a strictly video one like this for beatboxing because I think it would always be on Discord. Like you would still battle live. But it's definitely a new concept, and I think it should stick a little bit. I mean, people seem to be really enjoying it. Like yesterday, there was thousands of people on the live stream, so I think that yeah, it's definitely gonna stick because
Yeah,
it's easy to do too. Everybody's at home.
it makes it that, and it's also the money that would go into said battle, because that's a problem that's happened forever with every beatbox battle ever, is trying to find sponsors to make it work properly, and not having to fly everybody out and put people up, and being able just to go and have stuff happen at their own house definitely is helpful, to say the least.
Definitely. Yeah, I
You
mean, they
run
still
into
were able to get everybody's mic and stuff. You mentioned that earlier, and I kind of forgot to comment on it. But yeah, that's one of the dopest parts about this battle was that everybody has the same exact setup, which at that point it's like most of the problems of online battles are diminished because that's one of the biggest problems is that one guy's using his flip phone and the other guy has his like studio setup.
Yes, I always found that, like, that's why I had a hard time with the online stuff, because I'd see someone with so much talent, but you're recording through a potato, and it's like this is brutal. Like I know that I can hear that it's good, but it's hard for me to go and appreciate it. And then somebody go and just put themselves through all sorts of things, and it could be, it just comes through so powerful, and maybe that's not how it would translate onto stage if they had an even playing field. So
Definitely.
Kickback Battle definitely has that problem somewhat solved. I wanted to go and ask a question from our audience that had brought in, because I usually hold these to the end, but this is just a good question, and something that I was gonna bring up is the idea in what point did you really think you can pursue beatboxing as an actual career? That's a question from our audience and myself, but what was a point that you were like, okay, this isn't just a hobby, this isn't just something I'm gonna try to go and win a few battles in, but when did you decide that this was going to be a full-time career and be able to pursue it?
I think we as the Beatbox House kind of had that thought collectively, like at the beginning of after the World Champs in 2015, like, and after those couple months, like we would all go to New York a lot more often, and we kind of collectively like decided this is what we're gonna do because we weren't trying to hustle individually. We were trying to do it as a crew, get shows together, busk together, get opportunities to get for each other and stuff like that. So that definitely helped a lot. So that was kind of after the World Champs, I'd say, in 2015, that we all kind of decided to really hustle.
And you've been doing it ever since. You guys have been crushing it. I've seen you all sorts of different showcases. Even you guys get booked in Toronto. I was so happy. You got like Daybreakers, right?
Yeah, Daybreakers.
Yeah, so you got this thing, and I'm like, yeah, they coming to Toronto doing a show as a crew. That's sick. But it's crazy to see how you guys have been. You were even featured on NFL Sunday. You had the Beatbox House got put up on that, and you've had all sorts of success as the Beatbox House. And currently, I noticed that you guys did a fundraiser. I was gonna ask you, I think it was GoFundMe or something like this, but are you guys currently working on an album together as a crew?
Yes.
Do you have any idea? And I obviously never rushed art, but when do you think people can expect to hear music coming out from you guys as a drop?
Well, we have a couple singles finished that aren't strictly beatboxing. We released America at the beginning of December, and we have a couple more that are similar to that will be dropping leading up to the album. I think for our full length album, it's going to be 100% beatboxing samples and stuff like that. So, so far, I think we have 3 tracks done or something like that, and we're aiming for 10, but we got the concept finished. So we're probably looking at early midsummer for that to be done, which is a long time, but we're going to have it done, recorded by like the end of March, maybe. And then a lot of time for production, post-production, mixing and mastering and stuff.
And is there solo? You said that you're thinking about, again, you have some solo things you're working on, either production wise through Ableton or solo beatboxing as well. if you had to go and put an estimation on when people can hear a new Napom, actual Napom solo stuff, when do you have anything that you would say you might be able to start putting out more music-wise?
March 1st.
Let's go. All right.
It's going to happen. 1st. Well, yeah, the only problem was I was going to have somebody really dope do the art, but he doesn't have enough time to do it. So now I'm just going to have some simple art and upload it. I got 4 tracks that are coming out March 1st. Dubstep, hip-hoppy, rhythmy, crazy production.
Yeah. March 1st, announced here, ladies and gentlemen, coming to get you that new on. And I wanted to go and say, too, since you've been on the cutting edge of the beatbox world for a good long while now, one of the top people pushing the scene, where, in your opinion, do you see the beatbox world heading in the next 5 years?
I mean, it's constantly growing. It's been exponentially growing for the past 4 years, 5 years. So I don't see it stopping anytime soon. I mean, I think beatboxing is starting to become almost more prevalent. It's going to start to become more prevalent than things like skateboarding, you know, things like other niche things like that, like yo-yoing. Maybe that's a bad one. Like dancing, it's going to be just as popular as dancing pretty soon. You know how like there's studios on certain corners or certain streets, dance studios. Like I think beatboxing is going to be so accessible for so many people. And once everybody finds it and finds the energy of it, it's going to be like, it's just going to become a household thing that a lot of kids in schools do together because it's the cool thing to do. And like, it's going to be crazy. It's already crazy. It's grown so much since I've started doing it. And it's not stopping anytime soon. There's more and more people every day. And I think the like real challenge is making it grow in America for me, because I see some of these other countries like Indonesia, Philippines, and I feel like if we had that kind of like statistical amount of beatboxers in America, like things would definitely be going crazy. If there was like 1,000 beatboxers per city, how crazy would that be?
Yes, it would blow up a lot, and it's crazy to see certain countries, with Indonesia being one of the top ones for sure, that has that like wow factor of how many people are involved with it in the scene and pushing it. Super crazy. So big shout out to Indonesia. That's good. Also wanted to go and ask too, you've been teaching for a long time too. You've been doing online lessons. You've also taught at universities, and you said with kids, I think you did some of the beat rocker stuff as well, right? If I'm not mistaken, or something along these lines. Maybe I was wrong on that one, but
maybe not with Beat Global specifically, but I've done some interesting stuff.
But you've had that opportunity to go and teach it, and as a teacher of beatboxing, what's something that you think people get out aside from learning the skill of beatboxing? But what do you hope as a teacher you teach to people in your classes, and what have you seen people get out of beatboxing once they've learned it as a teacher?
I mean, it depends on if I'm teaching people for the sake of they're getting lessons from me specifically because they're already a beatboxer, or if I'm teaching somebody like a class of people, just a random like assembly or something like that. I'd say for like assembly stuff, it's always necessary to give them the basics first so that they feel like they can make noises with their mouths. You just kind of open up their mind to how simple beatboxing can be, because there's so many sounds that we already make as humans, or like so many just simple things that people do all the time. You just kind of open up their creativity with their sounds a little bit. You know, the same way that like the first time that you see beatboxing, you're like, oh, somebody can do that with their mouth. I want them to have that same feeling when they see me in the front of the classroom, and then teach them how to do it in a very simple and accessible way. Because I feel like that's the best you can do as a teacher to actually get people to want to learn more. You're not going to teach them how to beatbox in one lesson. You're going to only be able to get them really inspired to learn more about it. You can teach them a kick and a snare, obviously, but not straight up beatboxing as we know it. But then if somebody comes to me straight up for like personal lessons, or I'm doing a workshop for beatboxers, it definitely is a lot more advanced. Like I teach a lot more beatbox philosophy, get into specific techniques. People always ask about Liproll, so I do Liproll stuff. I teach about everything, actually. I try to be similar to my guitar teacher that I had, because I would show up to my guitar teacher and ask him any song, and he'd be like, "All right, we're learning it today." And it would literally be any song of any genre, and he would learn it with me, and he would just teach me how to do it. And I feel like that's a really interesting way of teaching, of being able to like kind of learn with your student, but be like really knowledgeable enough to do it that fast, you know? So like people come to me, I'm by no means like a throat bass master, or I don't know a lot about a lot of different things in beatboxing. Everybody has their style, but I feel like I have enough knowledge to be able to learn things with people and be able to help them learn it much faster than they would otherwise, you know?
Mhm. That's a good style of teaching. I like that, learning with your student, and it also makes them maybe bring it to their similar level, where they can see you as a peer, not just a teacher-student relationship, but being like, oh, a person's willing to go and humble themselves enough to show that they're not.
Yeah. On the flip side, I definitely have my go-to techniques and stuff. You always know what people want to learn. The inward K. Everybody needs to learn that.
Solid sound for sure. Classic solid sound. Such a dope one. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I don't know. I'm excited to go and see your music come out. I'm excited to go and see you push more things.
Me too.
You've been also live streaming a ton on like, I see Twitch and live streaming on you've done live streams on YouTube and all sorts of places. Now, this is something that I don't know about, and I'm gonna point blank ask you, because I actually want to know myself. But I saw there's like a backlash or something like that came up with people talking about you posted some sort of list, or you had a list of something that came up. Yep. And this is a story that I didn't know about, and I just want you to kind of explain it, because I tried to find stuff, but I couldn't find anything, and I feel like I'm out of the loop, so I want to know.
No, it's okay. So last Saturday, I think 8 days ago, I did a Beatbox tier list. So you know tier lists for like games and stuff, like you have your characters, your S tier, your A tier, and for like video games, you'll have like tier lists. Like these are the best characters that can probably beat these other characters. So I did one of those for beatboxing, and I tried to really not base it on like my personal preference. I tried to base it on like how many battles you've won and the amount of like impact that you made in the beatbox world. So it was actually a pretty sick list. I had like 60 different beatboxers on it. I left myself out of it because that's just even more controversy. But yeah, I mean, I think there was like, it wasn't really backlash as much as it was like, wow, he's really doing this. Like because you're not supposed to really like do tier lists of straight up people. But I was trying to keep like all personal like attacks on anybody out. I was just trying to make like a list like based on the amount of battles that you won, and you know how many people adopted your style. And D-Lo was number one.
D-Lo was the top of your list.
S tier.
Because yeah, that's like you from your perspective, putting together, you know, the NBA All-Star teams and saying those are the people that out of the whole league, these are the top upper echelon that are going to be on, you know, your first teams, your second teams, defensive, all those things. So it's interesting you made that list, and I'm glad that you would do something like that too, because it's just stuff for people to go and talk about and be interested in, and maybe from knowing your perspective, people that will respect your perspective will also maybe look at that list if they were to see it and be like, shoot, I gotta try harder.
Yeah.
And
it was a lot of fun, and it gave people insight. I had a lot of people watching, but it was also hard to do because you're talking about people, and people's pride are on the line, and it's like, oh, I'm B tier, fuck you, Napom.
True. And you've been still, again, is that something you're going to do more of with the content creation? Because I know that you've been working on website, working on YouTube page, working on just social media stuff as everyone does. But like, is that stuff you see yourself doing more of the live streaming on Twitch and more of the live streaming on YouTube to go and, you know, have that interaction and availability to fans to go and talk back and forth?
Definitely. I've been live streaming on YouTube like 4 or 5 days a week recently, so I'm definitely on there more. I enjoy live streaming and podcast styles like way more than shooting videos personally, because it's just, I feel like I'm less fake. Like, not that people that make videos are fake, but like that's just kind of how I feel when I have to put a camera in front and like act out a certain thing. Like, what's going on, guys? So for today's video, we're going to talk about this and that. Like, I'm just a lot better at getting in front of a live stream. Like, all right, we started. What's going on, everybody? And then nothing to hide behind. You're here and it's now, you know? So I prefer podcasts and live streams much over everything. So definitely check out my Twitch, check out my YouTube channel, because I'm always live. And I'm trying to, think about more types of content, like tier lists, things that people can be interested in. Because I've been streaming for like 3 or 4 years now, but I had like a phase where I was just doing solo beatbox, and then I was doing Dr. Nate for a long time, and then I was playing beats that I was making on Ableton, and then recently I've been kind of taking it outside the box and like doing like tier lists, joining battles live on stream, doing like reactions, having people send me memes or something like that. Yeah, I'm thinking about more creative stuff. I'm thinking about hosting my own battles, because we have like the Beatbox House Discord page that sometimes I have people hop on like during my streams. But yeah, I'm thinking about throwing a little Napom online battle, because it's quite easy. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, I'd love to go and watch that. And I saw that you what was that? You had you versus Vokoda had a one online that came out there. That was pretty dope. And I don't know, it's just cool. Again, it's to be a lot of people are stuck inside. A lot of people are quarantined. All these different things that are happening current lifetime world history. So it is a time to go and try to make the best of the time that you have, and when you're sitting at home and giving, hopefully content and things that are interesting to people to go and listen to. So, man, I'm excited to go and see more and more stuff that you put out. When I'm gonna get to some other sections. I'm gonna get to some sections like some other sections of this, but I wanted to go and say, as an opportunity, is there anything that you want to talk about specifically in this beatbox world that's happening that I haven't brought up yet, or anything that you think of off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, we mentioned it a lot. We're working on this Beatbox House album. I have an EP coming out pretty soon. We're going to be doing I think it's secret, so I'm not going to say too many details, but we're doing a pretty big secret project in Spain at the end of this month with Swissbeatbox. That's going to be really cool. In March, we're going to, as the Beatbox House, go back to Cat's Band to rehearse the Missing Element show, which we were doing last August, which you guys might have seen on Instagram. We were posting videos with dancers. So we're going to go rehearse that show one more time, and then that's going to be an official show. I mean, it's been tough, man, this past year with Corona and everything. I've definitely been struggling, just not only with like money, but as a human. I feel like my best place as a artist is definitely on stage. I feel my best whenever I'm in front of people, just showing them my beatboxing. And it's definitely not easy to not live with stuff that you would like to live with. Corona sucks, but we just got to make the best of it. And it's definitely good to be a part of something bigger with, Swissbeatbox and these online communities, these different, this battle that's happening with the kickback. It's definitely kind of putting a little bit more of a spur in my bum, because I don't know, just it's been hard, man.
I agree. Everyone has their own trials and tribulations as it goes through these things to keep inspired and keep motivated. And it's how people deal with it. And some people have a harder time than others, and others kind of excel with it. But I do say I'm missing getting on stage. I'm getting here in the crowd and having that interaction and seeing people, and everyone is, though. I feel like if you're a performer, you're genuinely like, shoot. Aside from that, I wanted to go and say one more thing too. Do you have any questions for me? This is the first time I'm going to add this to the Beyond the Beats, but I just want to know, do you have any questions that you would think of for me about anything?
Would you ever join a battle again?
Oh, yeah.
Like 100%. A Canadian Champs?
Canadian Champs is an odd one, because I feel like I don't need to, how do I say this? I've been the guy behind it for a while now, and I feel like it would be odd, even if the Canadians... Controversial, but I don't do well, go out first round, win any of these things. I don't need anybody to go and doubt that. So if I were to go and jump into a battle, I would definitely train a lot harder, than I am right now, which is, a good thing to do and something that needs to happen. And not having a battle for a long time, it brings you out of that mindset. So you go and let your sword get a little not as sharp as it should be. So battle wise, train my ass off and go and find a battle that would suit, and hopefully one of these days it'll happen. That's a good question. Maybe Scott Jackson will get into a battle one of these days. Just need to practice. Become like
What
Napom.
about future projects? I feel like you should do your own podcast. You should just do something every day.
Yeah, just host.
Yeah.
The host podcast. What up? Back again. We're just gonna have fun. Yeah, no, I like the hosting thing though, man. It's cool, and doing the podcast is cool. I get to talk to my friends about beatboxing and talk to people and ask questions that they're interested in. But I think overall, like, gotta think of stuff. Project wise, I'm gonna be working with Dr. Draw eventually soon enough, and go back on that track for a little bit. And there's some other little things that I've been talking to people with this time off. But in Canada specifically, the Toronto, we're in like a hard lockdown again. It's been like that for a while. So
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not one of the head medical professional people. So I'll just do it most of the part. Try to go and keep in line with that. So it's not ideal to go around and hang out with people and do all these things. So when that does open up, though, there's definitely things that I still definitely want to accomplish. Maybe do some stuff like the Beatbox House and other people who are making albums. Be something
That would be
interesting.
sick.
Be something interesting. Yeah. Well, people right here, I'm looking at the chat. I want you guys to go and ask any questions that you would like to Napom right now. This is your opportunity, because right now, before we get into that, I want to go and get into rapid fire questions. All right. Rapid fire. So basically the way this works is I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions. I don't want you to think about it too long, and I want you to go and answer the first thing that comes to your mind. All right?
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Beyond the Beats, rapid fire with the big homie Napom. Rapid fire. First question. Favorite current solo beatboxer?
Currently? Oh, man. Like, I don't even know. Like, Zeka was really good.
Zeka?
Yeah, but he's in the battle, so I can't say that. But that's probably one of my favorite teams.
Favorite tag team currently?
Favorite tag team? There's no tag Spider Horse, but there's no tag teams battles at least.
Favorite looper?
Favorite looper? I'm just kidding. I mean, Biscuit's been killing it. But I also really liked Christoph this past year, but haven't seen him that much recently. But he's sick.
Yeah, Christoph is dope. What was your favorite crew outside of the Beatbox House?
I mean, Barry Wham.
Barry Wham slapping it up. What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you in a mosh pit?
I don't know if I've ever really been in a mosh pit. I'm kind of a wuss.
Okay. What is your favorite dirt bike company?
Oh, I had a Yamaha. No, a Suzuki and a Yamaha. So I'd say KTM. They're the fastest.
What is the best American food?
Best American food? I mean, it's all really bad for you, but I like buffalo wings. Are pretty delicious, but I'm trying to go vegan pretty soon.
Okay. What's the biggest buck you've ever bagged?
Biggest buck? Not that big. 6 points.
All right. What is your favorite food from another country that you've had so far? If you had to choose one.
If I had to choose one, oh my God. I mean, it's ridiculous. Hot pot. Japanese hot pot.
If you could make a tag team with any beatboxer right now, aside from Kenny or a member of the Beatbox House, who would that beatboxer be?
Probably like Shogo.
If you could put together two beatboxers as a tag team from any time period, which two beatboxers would you like to see as a tag team?
Probably Bloomer and Shogo.
Let's go. And last but not least, who do you think will win the Grand Beatbox Battle 2021?
This guy.
Rapid fire.
Right there.
I'm gonna try. I mean, it's been a while. I feel like I took a long enough break that I'm gonna really make a good impact like last time. Because for a while, like I did the 2018 World Champs, and I was just losing, you know. So I need to take a break, reiterate my style.
Yeah, man, and that's actually a good lead-in because
My friend Papuni
has a few questions for you.
My friend Papuni
Has a few questions he wants to ask, and his first one was, what was your decision? What made you decide to take a break from battling for a while there, and then come back to GBB when you did? So what makes you as a battler decide to take breaks from battling, and then come back?
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about it years and years. I was just going and battling and judging sometimes, but mainly battling everywhere that I could, posting videos. Like I was never the type of person to like hide my routines before a battle. I'm always posting and like trying to share my stuff and learn more about myself through the process of sharing. Like some people, they're like, no, I don't want to show anything before the GBB, but I show everything most of the time. I'm always practicing and I don't want to hide myself. So, what was the question again?
The question is, what makes you think about taking breaks from battling and then come back? So it's the idea that you just have been doing it for so much, it just needs some time to refresh?
Yeah, I showed literally so much through that process of always practicing and always being open about it and always battling. So I had to take a break or else I was just going to keep losing. People were getting tired of me. Literally, like, some people just straight up do my beats and ask me for my beats in the other people's live streams. Like, I need to take time to, you know, think about other beats. I need to take time to think about other things.
It's a solid thing.
Yeah, especially in
advice
battles.
too. It's good advice too, to go and give yourself time to create new and polish
new image, you know?
Yeah.
My friend Papuni
Has another question. He wants to know, what do you enjoy about battling in general? What are some things that you really enjoy about battling?
I've always been a competitive person. I used to wrestle, played football, did all these things. So battling is like a really non-physical way and like a super creative and musical way to like be super competitive without being mean to anybody. I mean, you can be mean, but you shouldn't with your sounds. And it's so much fun, you know, to be pushed in like a language. It's like language battles, musical language battling.
That should be the name of your battle that you put up. The musical language battle with Napom.
Yeah. Seriously.
Oh man.
My friend Papuni
has some more questions. He wants to know, he thinks right off the bat, he goes, can you explain which is the most important title that you've won so far, in your opinion?
The most important title that I've won coming from Paponi. I mean, I'd have to say 2017 GBB, but I feel like one of my favorite ones was 2015 American Champs. I feel like that was really dope. That was a dope year. And I feel like I did really well and like just represented myself really well that year.
Solid answer. All right. Another question
my friend Papuni
has for you is, so far, what he wants to know, what you like about the SBX kickback battle, and has the experience been good for you so far?
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it already. I like it, a lot of it, because it's one, really entertaining. Like, it's the best beatboxers right now that chose to battle. So it's one, really entertaining just to see people battle in the first place, and I'm judging it, so it's entertaining to be a part of it. You know, I'm a part of the competition itself. I think it's awesome, and I hope that the concept sticks.
I agree.
My friend Papuni
wants to know, is there any battles out there that you would like to participate in that you haven't yet, or would you like to go back to? So what battle would you like to participate in the future?
That's a pretty interesting question. I feel like, I mean, sometimes I see some like cool looking battles in France, like Battle of the Year, stuff like that. Like, I wish it was easy for me to just go to some of these cool battles that happen in Europe. There's not one specific one, but like, it's not easy for me to just like be in Europe and just choose to be in Europe for a long time, you know?
Well, yes, as an American citizen living in America, it would definitely be hard just to be like, I'm going to Europe for a couple months, whatever, and figure out the money later on. Nah, I really want to go and see. I've been loving since they've been doing a Beatbox France, but the growl up battle, man, that's one of my favorite concepts of pairing beatboxers with instruments and other musicians. That's so dope, and they're putting out new stuff right now. So people watch the growl up battle that's been going on. It's super dope. Another question from
my friend Papuni.
He wants to know if you could find a sponsor, a brand, what brand would you like to work with most in this moment?
In this very moment? Red Bull. But on an unrelated note, I feel like beatboxers should start getting into esports teams.
Now, I will say personally, I have small understandings of esports teams, but I know you've done stuff like the Smash battles, and that's one question I had for who's your favorite Smash character?
Man, I don't have a favorite. I'd literally play everybody, but the newest guy, Sephiroth, is just evil.
All right. So that was a question I forgot to ask you. But the esports things I always found is interesting too, because like there's obviously a huge market for it. There's sellout stadiums to go and watch these things happen, and I think that'd be interesting to go and pair beatboxing into that world, because
the way that kind of works, I'm not super into it either. Like, I'm not on a team and I don't run a team, but I'm pretty sure that like you have your teams, TSM, Panda Bear, whatever it's called, like, and these teams themselves have tons of sponsors. You know, like one team is sponsored by this car company and Cup Noodles and Monster and this one and that one. And then this team is sponsored by them, and them, you know? So I feel like beatboxers should almost be on that same level and like represent certain companies when you're not necessarily represent the companies, but represent your team who is sponsored by a bunch of companies whenever we go to these certain battles. I feel like that would really take it to the next level. Because whenever these gamers go to these huge gaming events, like it's all sponsored hotels, like their team pays for everything, and like there's big prizes at these battles. It's crazy. So I feel like beatboxing eventually is going to move into that direction, because it is beatbox battling. I don't know. The one thing about games is like there's the product of the game to sell. With beatboxing, I feel like if more beatboxers get into recording their music, like every beatboxer, and have that legitimate product, like it would definitely move the battle scene as a whole to another level. I don't know. There's a lot of directions it can go.
I agree. It's an interesting thought to go and have of which way the sponsorships will come in and which way the battle scene will go and grow, because realistically, like, it could end up being something where you have multiple sponsored in teams, or like the F1, like the racing, you'd have like, you know, the Lamborghini team and the Mercedes team, and they have all these different teams to go and pursue like that, and people would be on it. It'd be interesting to go and see that as a concept. So that's a very interesting thing. We'll see how it goes, but I do know moving forward, one way or another, it is necessary for there to be sponsorship and appropriate people like getting opportunities given to them and winning money for these competitions. Because like, I'm not going to downplay anything that has ever had a competition associated with it, great prize money. But I've seen some things where I just have a hard time accepting that something like that can go and have such like beyond. There's so many competitions that I see that are on TV, have huge sponsorships, have thousands and thousands of dollars of prize money, and then beatboxing doesn't get that quite yet. So I can't wait for the day that does happen.
Yeah, Swissbeatbox they're leading the way. Like with this kickback battle, look, everybody got their own stuff delivered to their house. Plus there's going to be a prize. Plus there's going to be a PS5. Like, they're definitely leading the way and moving beatbox in that direction, which needs to happen, and it needs to happen the right way too, because it's happened the wrong way in other communities, and I think Swissbeatbox are the best ones to be in charge.
I agree. I think they're pushing it in from Grand Beatbox battle to everything else they've touched. It's been good. And somebody just said, Thomas Quaitek just said, where there is a crowd, there is money. And you are correct. I do say that. And anything that if there's a crowd to be had and viewers there, then that shows and proves the reason why people are interested. So That is a good point. So big shout out to you, Thomas. But one more question from
My friend Papuni.
He wants to go and know. Oh, there we go. What would you be most likely to battle in? Sorry, let me read this correctly. Okay, since you've had experience in all battle categories, solo, tag team, loop station, and crew, which one do you have the most fun with currently, and which one would you be most likely to return to in big battles?
Definitely solo.
Solo.
Yeah. I mean, that World Champs where I did every category was just way too much. Even the Great North where I did every category was too much. That was so much. And I feel like my loop station style isn't as much like a battle style as much as I just like to loop. I just like to chill and make some beats and freestyle and stuff. But when it comes to battling, solo is where that energy can really, really go. I definitely feel like I can really succeed in solo battling still. So in the future, I'm going to do more.
Let's go.
I'll be
Grand
back.
Beatbox Battle 2021.
I'm still
Man's
young.
coming for it. And also,
My friend Papuni.
last but not least, wants to go and say much love to you. He respects you. He loves you. And he hopes that soon enough, you and him can have a drink soon.
I heard that in his voice.
I really hope so. I can't wait. It's going to be great. But now we go to the audience. People have been watching this entire time. These are some questions that have come up. And big shout outs to Hydeville, Ilya for running the stream. Thank you very much, brother, for picking out these questions. So one question that the audience had was, what is a mistake that you've had on stage that you can't forget?
Something that I can't forget, a mistake that I made on the stage. I mean, the whole battle against Alexino in 2018 was a mistake. I just really messed up. I just didn't do the right thing. I made a mistake, and I'll never forget it.
All right, that's an answer for the people. Another question from our audience. They want to know who's one of your who is your favorite beatboxer that you've jammed with outside of the Beatbox house?
Favorite beatboxer that I've jammed with. I mean, there's been a lot of beatboxers that I've jammed with. I made that little project with Jongza, which was really cool. So
yeah, Temple and stuff. That was dope.
Yeah, I'd have to say, that was definitely the coolest thing I've done with another beatboxer.
All right. Another question from our audience. They want to know who is someone that you would like to battle if you had the chance. Is there somebody out there that you want to go and battle and have the opportunity to share a stage with?
Definitely. I have never properly battled B-Art, which I think would be crazy. That'd be insane. That's the first one and the only one that really comes to mind.
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of funny that we've never crossed paths, and we're both Vice World Champs now too. So it would be the Vice Champion throne. Who's the real second place?
Who came in second best?
Yeah.
All right. Another question from the audience is, what do you think about the most recent generation of beatboxers that are coming up?
I think that it's definitely crazy. I cannot imagine the first beatbox battles that I see to be D-Lo versus Codfish and some of these insane battles. Some people, they're telling me like, oh man, I just saw like some super new school battle. Not that it's like super new school in a bad way, but like, I feel like starting and that being the reference for beatboxing is a really, really hard reference to learn. So go back, watch old school beatboxers from the 80s moving all the way until now. See the process of how beatbox grew. Because if you try to learn all the way from step 20, you're never going to learn. You got to learn how we learned, this generation that is, leading the way. We learned by watching these old school battles, simple kicks and snares, saw how that progressed, throat bass, lip rolls, sound by sound, inward Ks. If you learn with the beatbox world, it'll be a lot easier because a lot of people have trouble. They come to me and they can do lip rolls, they can do crazy cough snares, they can do spit snares, but they can't hold a beat. They can't do regular PF snares, regular kick drums, regular hi-hats, you know? So definitely go back and learn the history of beatbox.
100% to know where you're going. It's a good thing to know where you came from. I will definitely say that. And that's like even he just posted it again, but I saw Kenny Muhammad. He posted posted the joy of Kenny, and that's when he worked with the orchestra. And it was just still to this day, that's one of my favorite videos in beatbox. And just the way that he's a monster, man. He's such a monster when it comes to beatboxing, keeping the rhythm, being himself. So I watch those videos, ladies and gentlemen. Give a listen back to the old stuff and see where this whole thing started from.
Definitely.
Another question from the audience. We'll go with the last question from the audience here. And one more question is, let me see. Okay, if there is okay, if there was a beatbox deck in a game, much like a Pokemon deck, which beatboxers would you choose?
How many do I get to choose?
Well, I remember, I think you get like in the original Pokemon, it was like 3 guys or something like that. So let's just say, keep it simple. If you had 3 to pick from, and you get them, you know, I guess it'd be beatbox Pokeball styles, and you'd be like, I choose you. Who are the 3 people that you'd have?
I'd have a crazy deck. I'd have Inertia. I'd have D-Lo. And I'd have Codfish.
Inertia, D-Lo, and Codfish. That's a dirty deck. Yeah, I like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, those are questions from the audience, questions from Paponi, questions from me, rapid fire. But I wanted to go and say, before we get into one more, is there anything else you want to talk about, brother? Anything that you want to bring up? Anything in general that you think needs to be addressed? Anything in general? Just what are you thinking right now?
I'm single.
Hey now. Single, ready to mingle.
Ready. But I'll wear a mask. Don't worry. I'll get tested.
Ish.
No,
yeah, no, it's difficult times for everybody.
All I can think about saying, you know, like, even when I go back, I just went and visited my family a couple months ago. Like, there's not too much to talk about these days because I'm not doing as much as I nearly wish as I could because of Corona. You know, like, I really wish that I can go out there and perform, go out there and meet people, because that's where I feel like I'm my best. So, you know, these days I'm just trying to stay positive, just trying to stay busy live streaming. I picked up cooking over quarantine, and like, not that I didn't cook before, but I really like started watching Gordon Ramsay videos and fucking going down the rabbit hole. So I like to cook a lot now. But yeah, other than that, man, just trying to stay busy, trying to keep myself busy, you know?
100%. And you have, again, ladies and gentlemen, go on to YouTube, subscribe to the homie Napom, go and check him out on Twitch, go and follow him there, follow him on Instagram, follow him up on Spotify, give those listens, get him into that realm, because he's coming in with new music. He said March 1st with 4 original things coming out, as well as the Beatbox House having an album coming out, full length, 10 tracks. Hopefully we'll be seeing that sooner than later. He's going to be coming for national champ, or sorry, actually that's my last question. Will you ever go back into the American champs and try to battle at American champs?
One day.
Come the first 3 time.
Actually, probably the next live one.
And in the American scene, who out of the American scene do you think, if you were to go into that battle, who do you personally think has a good chance of going into that and for the championship? If you had to pick top 4 solo beatbox battlers, people that are going to be in the battle or battle for the next one that comes back, American champs.
In America specifically?
In America specifically.
I think Vocoder. Ballistics is one of the best, and it depends who comes back, because there's a lot of people in America that don't battle regularly anymore, like Villain, like all the Beatbox House, like Gene, like Kenny, like there's people that just don't. It's hard to say. I think the next live one if I would join it, everybody's gonna join it. So the next one will be crazy. I have no idea. No
I'm
clue.
excited. I'm excited to go and see if you jump in back on that one.
I mean, there's so many good beatboxers now too. Like Raul, you know, Biscuit has been winning a lot of online battles. It's hard to say, man. There's
Ping
so
Pong Poe slapping
Ping
it
Pong
up too.
Poe, he's insane.
Yeah, man. America's got a heavy squad right now, I will say.
Yeah, if we come together, we can't be stopped.
But yeah, seriously, thanks for coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, big shout outs to everybody on the stream watching. And overall, 100%, we have the album to look out for with Beatbox House. We have more music coming on from Napom production side of things as well. He'll be putting out more live streams, more interaction, more stuff where maybe he's making lists and you guys can go and comment on these things. So go follow, go support, go buy the music, go buy the merch, get that stuff going on. But before we jump out of here, I know you've already dropped one, but do you have it in you to give another little session of beatboxing to the people that are listening here?
Absolutely.
Live and direct? Live and direct.
100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, episode 41 on Beyond the Beats. This is Napom, ending off in a freestyle. I say the 3, y'all say the 2 and the 1. In 3.
humanoid. Humanoid cannot escape the humanoid cannot escape the humanoid cannot escape the humanoid cannot escape the humanoid. Hit him with the hit him with the hit him with the hit him with the pip. Now here we go again. Me and my lonesome ass friend. Spin up your dope to show you I ain't playing. And I ain't saying I should tell my mama on you. Me and my folks in the Maserati. The smoke cause we like to party. Spin up your dope to show me I ain't playing. And I ain't saying I should tell your mama on you. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Now here we go. Whoa, again. Yeah. Now here we go again. Me and my lonesome ass friend.
I still do it. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
You guys come correct. Make sure that you come correct, rather, when you jump off Beyond the Beats. Do like Napom does. Come on. That being said.
Hey.
And every single time, big ups to MB14 for making the track. Thank you very much, homie. This has been Beyond the Beats, episode 41, with the big homie Napom. Coming for Grand Beatbox Battle 2021 with new music on the way. Solo will coming out March 1st. More stuff coming out with the Beatbox House. He'll be live streaming on Twitch, live streaming on YouTube. Make sure you follow him up on Instagram, Twitter. He's got that as well. Hit him up on the Facebook. And if you guys want, I do believe he's still doing private lessons and has some Patreons going on to go and make that happen. So ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you get a lesson from Napom if you want to learn the ways and trying to go improve your beatboxing. Do it. You will. And maybe you could be a champion like him one day.
It's happened.
That being said, man, thank you. Thank you so much for jumping on, man.
It's an honor. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to see you and have you on and talk about your interesting beatbox world. I love it.
Just started. That's the craziest part, is I've done so much, and with Corona, it feels like an end, but it's only a new beginning.
Like a phoenix, Napom shall rise. But yeah, stay safe out there, people. Make sure that you guys call friends, family, make sure everyone's okay. Do your best that you possibly can in your own situations. Stay healthy, stay happy. Practice your beatboxing. After this conversation, I'm definitely going to practice. Thank you very much for that, Napom, Mr. Neil. I appreciate your encouragement. Gotta go and dust off my old microphone here, and we'll see what we can do here. You never know. But last but not least, I will say, who's gonna win today's Super Bowl? I'm excited to go and see it. You know, he says Chiefs. I'm gonna go and say you can't go against Tom Brady. You can't go and do it.
I mean, that's messed up that he's just washing everybody as the quarterback.
He just decided, might as well go back there. Gronk, come on in. We're gonna go maybe try to win one more, and he's in the finals. So
it's crazy.
if you guys are interested in it, make sure you guys go watch it and have yourself a fun time. Aside from that, one more time, big ups to Napom, big ups to Beatbox House, big ups to K-Pom, big ups to everybody in the world that's doing beatboxing. But this gentleman right here is one of the revolutionaries, one of the 4 front runners right now, and he's coming for titles and putting out projects. So follow him up, support him. Aside from that, Scott Jackson right here. We'll be back next week with another episode so you can find out what's happening beyond the beats, live and direct.
Nice.
But that being said, thank you for tuning in. Time.